Plaintiff Olivia Atkins is best friends with the defendant's mother, and she loves the defendant like her own daughter, even though she doesn't always agree with her decisions. However, she's suing her today for a gas bill, an electric bill, and court costs. Defendant Kayla King says Olivia is vindictive, and if she really loved her, she wouldn't have called Child Protective Services on her numerous times. Kayla claims Olivia falsely accused her of neglecting and abusing her children, and she denies owing her for anything.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I've been knowing Kayla a long time. I'm her mom's best friend. I've been knowing Kayla since she was about 3 years old. I love Kayla. Some of the decisions she made wasn't really wisely.
Like what?
Jumping around job to job, sometimes on purpose to keep from paying daycare. Little silly things like that, or her decisions and who she dated and things like that. But I love Kayla, like I said, like my daughter.
What type of life has she lived? Other than that, have you productive citizen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So sound like she turned out all right then.
She
other than paying you your money, you claim.
That part she didn't do.
All right. Let me hear from you about your relationship.
Like she said, she is my mom's so-called friend. As far as I know, Olivia is very vindictive. She's negative. She's miserable.
In what way?
She says she care about me. How do you care about somebody you done call CPS on 6 to 7 times? You tried to say that I wasn't feeding my baby. This is what the CPS worker told me, that she said I wasn't feeding my baby. I was abusing my baby. I smoke drugs. I also sell drugs. I do not smoke weed. I had to take drug tests. I do not smoke weed.
No, you don't have to tell me that.
I do not sell drugs.
Control that. Let me ask you this. What was the conclusion of those visits?
They closed the case.
Okay, so you didn't have any action relevant to those calls?
No.
And how you know she called?
If you look up on my evidence on page.
What do you have to say about this, ma'am? Because in essence, what she's saying, you tried to have her children removed from her house.
Actually, Your Honor, I called Protective Service on Kayla one time, and I did that at the hands of her mom, who Kayla had her ex in her house that was not supposed to be around her child. I didn't just call Protective Service.
They weren't supposed to be around?
It's a long history between Kayla and her ex. It was an abusive relationship.
What did her mother have to do with it?
Someone called her mom and told her that he was here in our city in Kayla's house.
So why didn't her mom call?
She needed to know, was it true first? So she told me once I got there, if it was true, call Protective Service.
She
told me when she
quiet. You went over there.
Sir, her mom told me.
I know. And you went over, and what happened?
She said, go over there. If he is in her home, call Protective Service, because he wasn't supposed to be around her kid for child endangerment.
I heard you.
Yes, sir.
So what happened?
And when I got in there, he was there, and I called Protective Service.
You left back out?
I left back out.
All right. And Protective Service didn't believe you?
I don't know if they didn't believe me or what the case may be. I didn't try to be deceptive or anything. I told them my name, exactly who I was.
They didn't take action on your claim?
He wasn't there by the time they made it. I'm pretty sure he was gone.
Okay. You're pretty sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Where do you get your assurances?
Because as soon as I walked in, she called the gentleman by his name and said, leave, she's going to call the police.
Okay, so why did you call them if he had left while you were there?
Her mom still directed me to do as such.
Oh, you called her back?
Yes.
And you said, he's gone?
No.
And she said, still call?
Sir.
Come on, ma'am. Let's get on to the gas bill and the electric bill. That's what we're here for. All this messiness y'all can handle with somebody else. Didn't you say you're already dealing with it?
Yes.
All right, so y'all keep that with them. All right, so gas bill, electric bill, how does she owe you for that?
I had to live with Kayla. As I was living with Kayla, the lights got turned off. So
what was the agreement on you living there?
No agreement, sir.
Oh, you were living for free off of her?
I just had let her live with me for
I didn't
free.
ask you that. Do you living for free?
The truth, Judge, yes.
Okay. There it is. And so you was no agreement to pay. And so how does she owe you?
not just me, her mom and I.
No, sue for what you are here for, what she owes you.
I paid her light bill because they turned them off.
Okay, and you weren't living there, obviously.
I was.
Using the lights.
I was, sir.
And she was too.
Yes, sir.
So why wouldn't it be divided?
I don't know. It was other people living.
No, you are. Why wouldn't you use common sense and say, I was there, she was there, other people was there, so let me divide the total amount by the number of people who were there. Instead, you want it all from her.
Like she said, she is my mom's so-called friend. As far as I know, Olivia is very vindictive. She's negative. She's miserable.
What way?
She says she care about me. How do you care about somebody you done call CPS on 6 to 7 times?
Plaintiff Olivia Atkins is suing her best friend's daughter, who claims Olivia called Child Protective Services on her numerous times, falsely accusing her of child abuse.
What do you have to say?
I feel like she should have divided into 4 different people who was all staying with me.
Yep.
Not only did she put it in her name, I never asked her to put this gas bill in her name.
The question is who used it. I don't care whose name is in.
All of us.
Who used it.
All
yeah,
4 of
right.
us.
That's
well, 5 of us because my child.
Then we'll go with the 4 adults.
Yes.
All right. Anything else from you, ma'am?
No.
You?
Just the gas bill.
All right. And that was how much?
The gas bill $372.72.
And the electric bill $268.
And the $100 for court fees, fine, and costs.
Not granting you that. You didn't have to come. So divide that by 4. 373 plus 268. How much is that?
It's $163 a
That's your
person.
judgment. 163. You paid the bills. Now
Judge
we
Mathis.
divided among all 4
Judge
people.
Mathis, I
Yes.
wasn't there when the gas bill occurred. Excuse me.
You said you lived there. I
The
asked
light
you that.
bill, you asked a question and I
You
answered
never
the judge.
lived there during the time of 1 day of this gas.
No, I
never
let her
did?
use these. I let
You
her.
never did?
Judge Mathis.
Is that a no or yes?
That is a no.
You never lived 1 day while the gas was on.
The gas was
All
in
right, what do
somebody
you
else's
say?
name,
Well,
sir.
be quiet.
That's
What
not
do you
true.
say?
She stayed with me the whole time the gas was in her name. When I got off of work, the gas was off. The next day I went to work, she put the gas in her name.
Mm-hmm.
So she was still there.
Okay, she says she wasn't.
Judge Mathis, that's not true.
That is
I didn't
true.
put the gas in my name. I gave Kayla my information over
That's
the
a
phone.
lie.
She put the gas in my name.
Why do you
a lie.
give her your information?
Because I trusted her. I loved her.
Give it to her to do what?
She didn't have no gas. It was hot. It was
So you
cold.
did give it to her to put the gas in your name. What's the matter with you? Because you're about to lose.
Thank you,
What do you
Judge
have you
Mathis.
want to show
On
me?
page 2, I clearly stated up in the green at the bottom on page 2. No, obviously you thought my child was going to get taken because you called more than once. And now I'd
I
rather
want to
go
know
to
about
court.
the gas.
Yeah,
Well, I
if you
told
keep
you we
reading
were
on,
done with that.
if you keep reading on,
You read it.
It says right here, you act like I put the bill in your name. You called, did on your own, ran it up, and think I'm gonna pay it all by myself. You're crazy. I said that to her. You act like I put it in
What
my
was her
name.
response?
And her response was, Kayla, it's not what I called for. It was because your mom told me to, and so on about the abusive relationship.
I want to hear about the bills. That's what we're here
Yeah,
for. I keep telling you.
that's what I said on page 2. I told her, you act like I put it in
What
my
did
name
she
myself.
say
She
to
never
that?
responded
Well,
because she
that
knew it
was
was
my
true.
question. What did she say to the bills? And she did not respond. So that's not admitting. That's you saying to her, you owe me. She's contending still. So I am dividing those bills by 4. I do believe you there. I'm sorry. I believe you there for gas too. Yeah, isn't that terrible? But that's what I
Thank you,
believe.
Judge.
Have a good day.
You too.
You're welcome. Anything
welcome.
else?
No, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
You know your daddy
I
ain't
just
take
want
you.
to see
That's
if,
okay, Kayla, because
miserable,
guess what?
bitter.
Well, why would I be miserable?
You are
I didn't need your name. I didn't need your name. My
still
bills
not
was
getting
paid.
much from me.
Kayla,
Where are you
grow
getting
up with your
$100?
childish having.
You still
Get
gotta
on her
take them,
mistake.
girl. Kiss my man,
Get
because you
on her.
miserable. You been a prison. You didn't raise none of your kids. You called CPS. I still got my kids. And guess what? You're only getting $100.
Plaintiff Michael Klein was addicted to pain pills, fentanyl, and meth, and he went to prison for 8 years for manufacturing meth. Michael has now been sober for nearly 11 years, and he's suing his former roommate for rent, a loan, and damaged property. Defendant Fernando Vargas says he went to rehab for his alcohol addiction, and that's where he met Michael. Fernando claims a month after moving in with Michael, he relapsed. and as a result, he became financially irresponsible.
Start with you, sir.
Well, for starters, Your Honor, I'd like to thank you for hearing the case. I've always admired your story. I myself have been sober now for going on 11 years.
Okay.
I was, after a car accident, I became involved in OxyContin and fentanyl. And that led me to doing other things like methamphetamine. And I was eventually incarcerated for 8 years for conspiracy to manufacture methamphetamine.
How many years?
8 years. Yeah. So after I was released, I went to the Project Turnabout Halfway House, and that's where I met Fernando. Me and him, we were roommates. We got along really well. He was going through a lot of the same things that I had gone through in the past. I'm quite a bit older than him, so I was like a mentor to him. We would stay up late at night, have conversations, and we just kind of got together and got along really well, where we decided, like, when we were going to get out, that we would get a place together. After a car accident, I became involved in OxyContin and fentanyl, and that led me to doing other things like methamphetamine. And I was eventually incarcerated for 8 years for conspiracy to manufacture methamphetamine.
Defendant Fernando Vargas is being sued by his former roommate, who admits that he was addicted to pain pills, fentanyl, and meth.
So what happened after that?
I got out a little bit before him. It was June 2018. He got out a couple weeks later, and the agreement was that he would pay $400 a month per rent. And during that time, he would pay sporadically for the most part. Things didn't go always that smooth for me. After I was out for a couple of months, I was on parole. I had a home visit where a random home visit where I received a violation for my parole for having, I had a decorative spear and mace hanging on the wall, which they determined they were dangerous weapons. So I was sent back to jail for 90 days.
Wow.
And that's kind of when the problems started to begin.
How so? What happened?
Well, as soon as I went back to jail, that's when he had stopped paying the rent, or because he no longer would have to give it to me. I would send my sister would be the one to go pick it up. So it would be like, if one day he would say he'd have so much money for her, but if she didn't catch him on that day, if it was like a couple days later, he'd have quite a bit less. And it was just got to the point where, things just were going where I was ending up paying my rent while I was in jail plus his rent. Okay. So from the point of like the June 2018 through August 2020, he still owes $2,165 in rent. And there's a breakdown of that on page 7.
Let me ask him to give some background first, and then we'll get more into that. Yes, sir. Give me some background.
I'm from Montevideo, Minnesota, of course. So it was really bad for me during like my young, 16, 17 years. I was really struggling with alcohol and, somewhat a little bit of drugs, not like crazy. And it just it got really, really bad that my parents would literally find me in the bathtub, just passed out, messed up, drunk. And I did not at all like that one bit. So less than a week later, I actually went into Project Turnabout 2, where Michael says where we met. And I did it on my own free will. It wasn't through no court, no nothing. I did it in my own free will because I really, really wanted to just, not have, go down the just going to the bad path, So I decided to move in with Michael Klein right actually after we got out of treatment, Project Turnabout. And so not too shortly after that, I moved in with him and everything was going great. I was working, and time I know it, a month and a half after moving in with Michael, something triggered me. I ended up relapsing a month and a half later. And then that's when I started just drinking very heavily. And I just wasn't able to, come up with some of the rent because I was just in my addiction. I just would spend my money on alcohol and yeah, yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you go back to treatment or start going to AA or something? What did you do to address your relapse? What did you do?
Right after relapsing, not very much, honestly.
Okay, so you haven't done anything. You just want to blame it on that and nothing, and you're cool. You should be off for that, right? I mean, blaming on the alcohol. That's an easy game to run. The poor mouth about my drug addiction. That's easy. I know 1,000 people. I'm addicted, so I don't have to pay you. You gotta do one to go to the rehab or pay me. And that's why I'm coming down on you, because you didn't. You relapsed, you were addicted again and did nothing about it.
Yes, Your Honor. And I was just struggling with depression too. And, of course, drinking didn't help at all either.
You had depression and addiction.
Yes.
So you certainly should have went and gotten some help immediately.
Right, and I did, and that's when I messed up. I didn't do that. I just was too full blown getting back into it, and I did not do nothing about it. It controlled me, and that's why I do not like having addictions, because it just changes your mindset. It changes everything about living.
Why didn't you go back to treatment or start going to AA or something? What did you do to address your relapse? What did you do?
Right after relapsing, not very much, honestly.
Okay, so you haven't done anything. You just want to blame it on that, and you should be off for that, right? I mean, blaming on the alcohol.
Defendant Fernando Vargas is being sued by his former roommate, who admits that he was addicted to pain pills, fentanyl, and meth.
And what are you doing now?
I'm not drinking as heavily as I do. I don't get me wrong. I still drink here and there.
That'll work.
Still drink here and there and not heavily. Yes. And they told you that was all right at treatment?
No, they told, of course you need to fully, stop and go to AA meetings, because it's always good to have a good support system.
But you're doing
to stay clean.
But you're violating the rules anyway.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I've never been a part of any recovery, yet I know that you're not supposed to touch anything if you are in recovery. And he knows. And yet he says, yeah, I know I'm not supposed to do anything, but I do anyway. That's a good game.
It is.
I'll work the addict game on my bill collectors.
Yeah. Call the insurance company.
Judge, why don't you go into rehab? Okay. I'll go to this rehab, but every now and then, I'm going to take me a blow. I'll let you know that right now. So as long as y'all cool with that, you can turn my lights back on. I don't know when you're going to get paid. Sometime you might, sometime you might not. I think that's maybe what he's saying, sir. You don't understand that? You're in recovery. You don't understand that?
I understand that.
You do. Well, then you don't need any money then. If you understand.
I understand where he's coming. I mean, I understand what he's saying. I just understand where he's coming from. I don't agree with it at all.
All right. Sir, I'm not going to even go any further with you, sir. Other than, do you believe you owe him for the rent and the damaged property or not?
I do believe that, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. So when you're ready to stop your every now and then, because as long as you have a every now and then mindset, you are an everyday addict. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day. Continued success to you and your attempts. You know you can't do anything every now and then, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good. Have a good day. Good luck to you, my man.
Thank you.
It's sad that we had to do this. It really is, because we were really super tight, and I hope that we can move on from this.
I'm just glad that I'm just thankful for you to help me out through everything. That I know all this stuff, and I'm sure we'll be just good as when we're in treatment. So no hardship.
All right, great, good deal.
plaintiff and Fiona Nyanga immigrated from Kenya when she was 7. And although she had some challenges, she overcame those obstacles and is now enrolled in college. And Fiona is suing her neighbor because she claims his dog attacked her dog. Defendant Oluwatosin Omoba immigrated when he was 13 from Nigeria, and he soon fell into the wrong crowd. Oluwatosin claims as a result he was shot and put on life support, but he ended up making a full recovery. Oluwatosin insists, and Fiona is suing for more than he owes.
Start with you.
Some background about myself. I'm an immigrant from Nairobi, Kenya. I moved to the United States in 2009 and moved to Dallas, Texas in 2018. As many immigrants go through, I had a hard time trying to fit in and language barriers, but now I am a university student studying to get my bachelor's in web development, and I want to become a UI and UX programmer or a developer.
What is that?
I'm pretty much developing websites.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Proud of you. All right. Let me hear from you.
I'm also the same as her as I'm an immigrant. I moved here when I was 13 years old. So that's about...
From where?
I moved here from Nigeria, Lagos. My mom moved down here first, just to like get her feet on the ground. And then me, my sister, and my dad moved down here afterwards.
Okay. What have you done with yourself since 13?
So I stayed with my cousins in Wisconsin for like a year. Staying down there was a little bit different. I was like the only black person in the school, but the way they treated me was out of curiosity. So it was nice. So like I would always get picked first for everything. People always wanted to talk to me and see what was going on. How our life was back in Nigeria versus a year. So after a year, I moved down to Texas.
Any criticism or any
no criticism. It was all love.
Negative reaction?
Nah, it was all love. It was.
And they learned something.
Yeah, it was.
They
all
learned
love.
about black people in Nigeria.
Defendant Oluwatosin Omoba is being sued by his neighbor, who claims Oluwatosin's dog attacked her dog, and as a result, her dog lost an eye.
There's a stereotype of people that come from the motherland that we still live in the bush.
Yes, sir.
And we're unsophisticated.
Yes, sir.
And we live in jungles. And so that's a prevailing view in America of the continent of Africa for those who are less informed.
That's actually
so that's what I'm trying to
Texas.
do right now is eliminate the stereotype that you and your family suffer from.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why I'm mentioning that to let everyone know that Lagos is highly developed, very crowded, very polluted, has everything that Detroit has, and there's a lot of corruption there, but there's a lot of corruption in the European countries, and that's why the third world countries suffer the way they do. It's because of the corrupt colonialists are now neo-colonialists. They used to control the countries, but when they were overthrown, you had the bankers, you had the big business, you had others that began corrupting, paying off the presidents of these countries and corrupting them. And so all of that is what I'm trying to educate folks on so that people will envision. Y'all got high rises. You got malls.
Yeah, we do.
You have movie theaters. Thank God for the kids that went to school with you. They needed to know who you were. And that's how we create diversity and we eliminate racism because we learn the truth about people. Those kids there ask about you. You were there because that school believed in diversity. And when you came in, they said, now tell us about your culture because we want to know. We don't know. So once again, a lesson on why we need to know each other as every culture. I need to know more about Latino community. I need to know more about other communities. And so should everyone else. So we won't be fearful of each other. So what you do now in your career?
So when I moved back to my parents back after a year's time, it's funny because, like you said, diversity. But basically, when I moved down here, it was different because I didn't get enough time to integrate here before I moved to Wisconsin. So when I moved down here, it was
Dallas. You saying moved down?
Yes, sir. So when I moved back down to Texas in Dallas, it was way different because in my school I saw a whole bunch of black people, African people interaction. So it was different. But I definitely did get made fun of because I was fresh off the boat. So that means you just landed in America freshly. So I smelled like mothballs because my mom always put those stuff around the house for some reason. They made fun of me with that. I wore sandals. My legs were always ashy for some reason. I did put lotion on, but they were never enough. So I used to get made fun of a lot when I was younger. So in order to fit in, I went into with the wrong crowd. I joined in with the wrong crowd. It was I was just trying to, like I said, I was trying to fit in. I wanted people to accept me, and people weren't accepting me. So I joined into the wrong crowd. Was around the streets doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to do. That's not how my parents raised me. But I didn't really care much because I just wanted to fit. I wanted people to accept me, not just at home, but also outside. I didn't want to be an outcast. I didn't want to be just by myself, because that kind of does something to somebody's mind. But so I ended up choosing the wrong crowd, running around in the streets for a little bit. So it got up to like 2016, still in the wrong crowd, still running the streets. I was in a situation where I got shot. The person hit me in my heart. It was actually 2 shots, but one of them hit me in my heart. The other one missed me. So I ran I was with my friend at the time. We actually was going to go out to eat. So I ran to her. She actually drove me to the hospital. I want to say if she didn't drive me to the hospital, I probably wouldn't even be here at all. Sorry, my voice is kind of shaking because I still remember. But when I got shot, I was on life support for I don't even know how long, maybe like a week or 2. When I came back to, I was trying to talk because I didn't know what had happened to me. I tried to say something, but I couldn't say nothing because they had a tube breathing from me in my throat, down my throat. So all I could do was just cry. All I was saying was I'm sorry to my dad. I just kept writing I'm sorry, because I knew exactly what had happened, and it was a bad situation for me and my family, not knowing if I had died, things would have, it was just been bad in my family. But I just thank God for saving my life. So you would think that I would learn my lesson. I would try to change. It's different. So when I move out, when I got out of the hospital, I really didn't change at all. I just went back to straight doing business as usual.
So all that, my family, my mama, my daddy, that wasn't a game.
No, it wasn't even a game. I was serious about it, but at the same time, I just went back to all I knew. So I went back to exactly what I knew. Business as usual, back with my friends, back on the street, whatever.
More of Judge Mathis when we return. Defendant Oluwatosin Omoba is being sued by his neighbor, who claims Oluwatosin's dog attacked her dog, and as a result, her dog lost an eye.
You never one time said, maybe I should go to get a skill trade or some type of certificate or degree?
No, I had an associate degree too. I went to UNT. I was still in school too as well.
Right, so you did know something else. You knew school.
Yeah,
so
I knew school, but that wasn't enough for me. Like I said, at that point, I've already been into it with my friends. I still had my own individual, whatever I wanted to do individual, but I still also was part of a group.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't want to change. You had the ability.
Yeah,
At first, I thought you were saying you went back to the same place because you didn't have a choice.
Had the opportunity
Don't
to
overtalk me because I got to figure what you're telling people. I got to clarify that.
Yes, sir.
You went back intentionally. You had other options. Most street kids don't feel they have options. So that's why they stay in the street. When they get an opportunity, most that I've known, when they get an opportunity for a job that pays livable wages, they all leave the street. 90% of the ones I know. Because they know it ain't a game out there and they want to get out. And they know the reason they're there because of lack of opportunity and poverty and crime and drugs in their neighborhood. So they're like, I can get a job. I can get a skilled trade that's going to get me a job. I'm gone. So let me get to you. The vet bill, medication, and future vet bills. Why are you suing them?
Okay, on June 19th, 2021, I was walking my dog Cash, who's a Maltese, down Mr. Oluwatosin's neighborhood, when his pit bull, who was unleashed and unattended, came and attacked my dog. And if he had not come home the time that he did, things would have been much worse. But he eventually pulled his dog off of mine, and I chased my dog back to my house, and I saw the extent of the injuries. And you can see that on page 8. And his eye came out of the eye socket. And I then went to confront Mr. Oluwatosin about the injuries and everything, and he decided to come and see the injuries himself. When he came, my dog refused to leave the house, and other than me forcing my dog to go to the hospital, my dog will not go outside for 2 months. And Mr. Oluwatosin agreed to pay for the medical bills. And there's also text messages on page number 1 that.
And what has happened when you've asked for your money?
After I got the medical bill of $1,628 and $203 for the medication, he refused to pay that, but he only paid for the checkup, which was $102. So even though he said that he was going to take responsibility, he refused to do that.
What's the future vet bills for?
The future vet bills is for any health issues that might occur.
I'll allow you to tell me, sir, about the incident.
Yes, sir. Before I do tell you about the incident, I know you are disappointed, but I do want to say that I did end up changing my life around. Right now, I'm actually a what's called a contractor with the city I'm from. I'm also a builder, and because of what God has done in my life, after all that has happened to me, it's brought me a long way to where I am right now. So I just want to let you know about
all right,
that,
let's move on, sir. Tell me about this incident.
Okay, we haven't met each other at all. I've seen her around the neighborhood. Like I said, I'm from the neighborhood, so she was somebody new, so I just introduced myself, and that was pretty much just it. We've seen each other around the neighborhood, and we don't really say anything to each other. It was just cordial. I had somebody come to mow our lawn for us, and I instructed him that as soon as you're done, if you can just please make sure you close the backyard door, because my dog, as a tendency, he's very smart, so if you leave it cracked up a little bit, he's gonna get out. In this case, I instructed the person that was mowing our lawn to close the backyard door and whatever. So on my way back home, I went to the gym. I spent like about maybe an hour in the gym. I'm coming back home. I drive down the street, and then I see her dog. I don't know if her dog was on a leash. I don't think so. But I see her dog, and then I see my dog down the street. And then as soon as I see that, I see both of them running towards each other. I was like, oh no. So I stopped my car. I didn't even get to turn my car off, and I jumped out of my car and picked my dog up. Her dog runs around the corner, and then that was the end of that for a couple of hours. During the nighttime, she comes back and she says, my dog bit her dog. I faced the dog's eye out. So I asked her for a picture. She showed me a picture, and I felt bad because of, like I said, I saw my dog and her dog interact a little bit, and then her dog ran around. There wasn't anything to say that my dog injured her dog because there wasn't any blood spots around. There wasn't anything. My dog wasn't scratched or anything of that sorts. But she told me that it was going to cost, like she wanted to take the dog to the vet to go see how much it would cost for whatever was going on. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll send you the money. Just let me know how much it is that they say it is to check up on the dog. So she told me it was $102. So I sent her the money. I Zelled her the money through my bank account. So upon that, she sent me another receipt stating that she had to pay extra, which I don't know anything about. All she told me was they told her the estimated price was $102, and that's all I paid her. So
they told you what?
$102. The estimated price to check up on the dog, to see what was going to happen, like whatever they need to do with the dog.
To see what was wrong for an examination.
Yes, for the examination, sir. So it was going to cost $102. So I gave it to her. I gave her the money, and she got the check. She brought me back the list of what was going to be done. There was a high amount, and then there was also a low amount. So I looked at the money. I was like, okay, I don't have that kind of cash on me right now. So what I can do is I can settle you for $700 right now. So because I didn't have that kind of money on me. So I told her.
Where was it?
Sorry, sir?
Where was it?
Where was it? What do you mean, sir?
You said you didn't have it on you.
No, like I don't have that kind of money on me.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
On you?
Yeah.
Where was it?
At all. It's just a saying.
Oh, you don't have it?
Yeah, I don't have it.
All right, we'll say that.
I don't have it at all.
All right, we'll just say that. Say, I don't have the money.
Sir, yes, sir.
After I talk so big.
I just told her I didn't have the money. So I told her what I could do was I could settle you for $700. And she didn't want to agree. She said
settle?
Yes, sir. $700. I can settle you for $700 because that's all I have to give you. So she said she didn't want to agree to that $700 would just be an initial payment. And all I just kept iterating was, I can only settle you for $700.
Defendant Oluwatosin Omoba is being sued by his neighbor, who claims Oluwatosin's dog attacked her dog, and as a result, her dog lost an eye.
So why don't you think you owe?
I never said I don't owe her. She's the one that decided to take it to court. And I got
because you didn't pay her. So now that you're in court, do you owe her or not?
Actually, no, I don't owe her the $3,000 that she's claiming that she...
Why?
Because it doesning make sense why it's $3,000, because on the...
You're a vet?
No, sir. But on the paper that the vet did give us, it was something dollars.
So your thing is the bill was, what she sent you was confusing? I don't understand.
No, the dog never got operated on.
All right, the estimate. What was it? Confusing?
The estimate was about... No, it wasn't confusing to me, sir.
Okay, so what is the dispute regarding the amount?
The dispute is that I don't owe her $3,000. The dispute is that I can settle her for $700.
Where do you get your numbers from?
I got my numbers based on the documentation that she gave.
Okay, and that was projection.
Yes, sir.
Because it hasn't been done yet.
Yes, it hasn't been done. She hasn't actually taken the dog to surgery, so there's no receipts for her to give me any receipts of what.
They refused to perform the surgery until a payment was made, and I asked.
So what's the condition of your dog now?
My dog is still in the same condition.
Okay, and they wanted a deposit down?
They want a deposit before.
How much of a deposit?
They asked for the $1,628.
Sir, the amount she's suing for the bill is just like the one you're referring to, $1,628. So now, what's your defense to paying the $1,628 plus medication?
She's she's negligent of her dog, taking care of her dog.
So why were you agreeing to, as the word you use, settle? That's used in lawsuits when you accept the responsibility.
Because like I said, sir, I saw my dog and her dog interact.
I'm just telling you what you said.
No,
Your words.
I understand that. I did say settle.
Don't talk over me when I talk. Don't try to overtalk me. Now, leash. You said your dog wasn't on a leash and that your dog has a tendency of leaving. You know. So why would you leave your dog with strangers?
So I didn't.
Why would you give your strangers some instruction when you know your dog, you even said it, he's sneaky, he finds a way to leave, and he has a tendency of doing it. Yet you leave your dog with a stranger.
Her dog wasn't on a leash, and also I have a proof.
You said you didn't know.
It was.
You said you didn't know a minute ago.
I also have proof.
Sir, didn't you tell me you didn't know whether her dog was on a leash?
I said I saw her dog.
No, you said you didn't know. You said the dog may or may not.
It may or may not.
Now you're talking over me again. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Can you please stop parking in front of my house? It's very uncomfortable.
Sorry, ma'am. The house that I park in front of is my friend's house. That's all the way down the street. Yes, sir.
We've seen you and we have photos of you.
Oh, that's fine. But my friend lives on the street. You're not the only one that lives on the street, sweetheart. So therefore, you're not the only. Really? You're not the owner of the. You're not the owner of the street.
And you look in your side of my house. Is
I'm sorry.
Your friend?
Sorry, what?
Okay. All right. That's all.